It's just occurred to me we really haven't had a completely successful test of this equipment.
I blame myself.
So do I.
Well, no sense worrying about it now.
Why worry? Each of us is wearing an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on his back.
Yeah. Now let's get ready. Switch me on. I don't think you're crazy.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Ghostheads radio show. My name is Ted, aka Steady, and joining me is usually a guy right here. You guys know him as Matty B. Matty B is partying right now. He wishes he could be here tonight. He is actually at a country music event. His wife, Lauren, is one of the most popular country radio DJs in Texas, if not the country. And so he's actually out at an event with somebody known as Jelly Roll. I'm told he's like a massive dude in the country music scene. I am not too privy on who's massive right now in that arena. So shout out to Maddie, wherever you're at. Have a beer for me, my friend, and we'll see you soon. Sandy, South Dakota's in the house. Hashtag Team Terry. And look, who's this? Who are these guys right here? Shout out to Terry and Bryce. I appreciate the lovely card. You guys are so awesome. We have a fantastic show for you guys. There's so much going on. We just finished weekend one of the nationwide 2023 Ghostbusters Toy Drive. And we have a handful of updates to give you guys. And I'm going to start out with bringing one of the coolest guys in all the land. He's got such a great heart. He's an amazing leader on his team, and he's been helping us out and all the other groups with information and tips. And he's done so much for his community. He's my pal and yours. Make some noise from the Cherryland team. Nathan Dean, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? Hey, I forgot your intro thing is a bop, man. That's intro song. I was jamming out to that. I'm gonna get offline later and get that what that music is, because I gotta add that to something if it is an actual, not like if it's a free one or not.
If not, I'll do what I can to like get you a copy of it or burn it or whatever.
I was just dancing along to it. This is great. Like,
so I forget who it is. I think it's our I'm probably gonna get this wrong. It might be. Maybe it's Eugene from the Austin team. He puts
Oh, okay. Wow.
together like a massive Ghostbuster playlist, and he's got his personal ecto has like all these songs on it, and I think he's the one that downloaded the song, and it's
Okay.
also on that playlist. So shout out. I think it's Eugene. If it's not Eugene, I apologize. It was a long time ago when somebody told me that. I'm like, awesome. Well, Nathan, I
Hey,
appreciate
how's it
you
going,
being
Ted?
here, man. I saw the photos from your event. They're fantastic. I'll bring some of them up in a little bit. The first thing I want to do is tell everyone sort of where we're at with the toy drive.
With our Troy Drive?
Well,
Everybody.
everybody's,
Oh,
yeah. And forgive me,
um,
I'm crunching a few of the final numbers that I just got in the last hour together. So
okay.
um there's so it's also a handful of teams had events, right? Not everybody. The toy drive launched last week. Everybody was like, being done with Thanksgiving and stuff, so only a handful of teams had events last week, and which is great. And then so more teams are going to be holding their events this weekend, the following weekend leading up to Christmas, and going from there. So really excited because we have a pretty a pretty good start right off the bat. So right now, this is unofficial because I'm still waiting on a handful of results from some teams, which is totally fine. But as of right now, I'm gonna type it in here.
Yeah. And
Nathan, would you be
ours,
so kind to give me a
yeah,
drum roll?
that's more of a cat purr.
For
Ooh.
weekend one, 849 toys and $5,169 in cash,
Oh, nice.
which
Yeah.
is fantastic for
Yeah.
like a
Awesome.
very quick week one turnaround, because the telethon was on Wednesday of last week, and we had some teams get their events out like right away. So congrats to everybody who's already started
Yeah,
off
congrats, man.
foot. Yeah, great. It's a great start to this 2023 toy drive. And shout out to the NYC team because I believe they met their telethon goal. They were aiming for 2023, and right now, Ryan and team are sitting at a little below $2,700 out of that 5,000 that you see on the screen there. So congrats to everybody. Keep them coming. If you're a part of the coalition, if you're a part of the campaign, send me your updates, your results. Get them as close as you can. And if you're a Ghostbuster team or chapter in the U.S. and for whatever reason you haven't, told us that you're doing charity events or you're collecting donations in your area, that's okay. You can tell us now, and we want to add you guys to the fold because we want to show folks around the world exactly what these chapters can do when they all come together and they're all, working as one to better our communities. Awesome.
Yeah. And if a group hasn't been able to organize a toy drive, there is still time. And there's also still time to just reach out to your local Toys for Tots or equivalent organization. Just volunteer to like be someone who will pick up toys from a couple boxes. Count that as your toy drive, and you're good to go. Because I can tell you, as someone who this year in particular has been quite intimate with the Toys for Tots behind the scenes, that's a big thing they need is people helping like go pick up toys weekly and daily. So go do that. If you can't, because they only got like 2 weekends worth of Christmas collection time, because most of these campaigns usually go till about the 16th. If not, find something, or just you know get someone who already has a box. See if you can just hang out for a couple hours in front of their box.
Absolutely. And this is why Nathan's here, because Nathan has all the great ideas and he's so willing to help out. And if you feel like you need to reach out to Nathan because you have an idea but you don't know how to like put it together, he's willing to help out. Reach him at the Cherryland page on Facebook. Ask them questions. Ask him questions. He's so helpful. Terry in the chat says, "How can we donate to the cause? Anything online?" I'm very certain NYC, their team is still taking donations. If you'd
Mhm.
like to, there's probably a handful of teams that are also accepting monetary donations. I can ask to make sure we find out. But
I know
Terry, you
Five
guys,
is taking uh, cash donate, like online
who's that?
donations. Five Below in general is taking like matching Toys for Tots donations. You can go to actual like Toys for Tots even at their like national level, because that actually, I know it sounds kind of weird, but they would actually, it does get back to local chapters because they use that money to help buy like the toys that don't get covered
Yeah,
kind of thing. So there's lots of places you can go to just help, even if it's $5. You'd be surprised.
absolutely. And she says, "Great, definitely." And Terry, if
Actually,
not,
I
just
can tell
just
you
keep
one other fun
sending,
thing. Okay,
just keep
sorry.
sending these cards out, Terry, because these are awesome, and you'll bring a lot of cheer to folks. There you go.
Actually, you can tell you one other thing. In most cases, most local chapters will let you also start a online campaign to collect donations back to their. So kind of one of those like you start like a cancer walk campaign. You can do that yourself. So that's another way franchises could kind of do something last minute and collect some money and raffle off a sticker or something.
Yeah, and then you probably have heard about this more than I have because not too many teams in my area have been hit. But how do folks be careful with Facebook and accepting monetary donations? Are you familiar with that process?
I advise not even going down that path unless you as a group um,
Or 501(c)(3)?
501c or the group you are donating to doesn't have anything other than a Facebook. So as an example, we have a local pantry here that last 2 Christmases ago we did a big fundraiser for through Facebook. They only saw like 75% of it. So
Mm.
since then they have made their own website with their own donation thing so that they could like kind of circumvent those like Facebook fees. Like you really should avoid that if you can at all. Like just go write a check and just like drop it off to your local group or something. Facebook you should just avoid for that kind of stuff. Not because it's bad, but it's a little too convenient, and then not all the money kind of gets right where it needs to get back to as quickly as it needs to. That's the other factor. So yeah, I know.
And
Unfortunately, know way too much about this.
no, I get it, and I there's a lot of groups out there who unfortunately been hit by the Facebook, the evil Facebook overlords. Laura Jane with her group, um, oh my gosh, looking
Oh
for her.
yeah, yeah, that factor too. That whole thing.
Yeah, they still have not been able to get their group back. The 716 Ghostbusters.
Oh, it's unfortunate.
They yeah, they still have not been able to get their page back, and that's so unfortunate. And so if you are a group and if you have like a direct contact to somebody at Meta or Facebook, or you have a great strategy suggestion for the 716 team, message me directly. I'll make sure I get those to Lord Jane because they need some help. It's been too long.
I
um,
know. Yeah, I know the Ghostbuster News people had that issue, and then they posted a whole thing about how to like prevent your franchise from having it happen to them going forward. I know I'm tempted to start telling people even just like it's probably a reason to actually have a website again because it shows something to link back to and kind of have another source where up until a couple of years ago, like why wouldn't you have a Facebook? But if they're going to kind of constantly, you know,
it's just a
mess things
hassle.
up, especially in an area where like I think we all know how much there are parts of social media where people get like accounts taken down all the time. Usually it's because they're trying to build an audience with more risque related content. But like really just because of like one movie, it's it's very odd, and it's almost to the point where I'm like, I might have to make a website going forward just to have some
Yeah.
kind of like other content hub, you know.
Yep. I agree completely. Danny Stark's in the chat saying, "What's up from Fort Wayne, Indiana? What's going on, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Ghostbusters? If you guys have stuff going on, charity events, let us know what those are. We love to plug them. We'll give you guys a shout out. And before we get to Nathan and his events this past weekend, they had a fantastic Phil the Ecto event. I got photos I can't wait to share with everybody. Some interesting characters in those photos as well. This
Yeah.
is a shout out to anybody who backed the Haslab 2 in the box project. Just so everybody is aware, we're all on the same page. I think by the time this stream ends, we actually might hit the 18,000. Right now, I need to update this.
I'm
Right
gonna
now,
check it right now.
we're at
Well,
17,931.
so close. Come on,
I
60 people out there with $300. Do something.
Yeah, that went up like by 20 since like the time we jumped on the computer. So by the time this show ends, we actually
Maybe,
might be
yeah.
there and we'll have something to celebrate. Awesome. We're gonna keep an eye on that. You guys in the chat, let me know. Bryce also did. Of course, Bryce did. Shout out to Bryce, man. We're thinking about you, buddy. Wherever he's at. I know he's just recovering, going through a lot of different issues right now. Awesome. Well, Nathan Dean from Cherryland, sir. You had a Phil the Ecto event, and I want to say it's one of the more extravagant ones. Why don't you tell us about your event this past weekend?
So we had a Fill the Ecto toy drive at our local Five Below here in Traverse City, Michigan. Which here's Michigan, here's Traverse City. Just so you know, it's up here, closer to Canada than it isn't. We had kind of snowballed from just a thing of us trying something new, doing the Five Below like a lot of other people. We ended up with having Chewbacca there. Santa showed up for a little bit. We got great support from one of our local radio DJs at Rock 105, Cartman. He was a big supporter of Toys for Tots, so he kind of helped us kind of blow up its like footprint. Our local Comic-Con, Cherry Capital Comic-Con, came out. They were giving out raffle prizes and giving out donation like stickers, and they were helping us in general. And we had our Ecto 42, which is a white Subaru, which is very appropriate for Northern Michigan if you kind of know the culture and the fact that there's snow here all the time. We had another car, our buddy Marvin, who it's like a geek themed cop car. We had more than one Jeep person show up based on a challenge by the radio station on, hey, Jeepers, come help fill up the Ecto. And one gentleman showed up. He had a white Jeep that was all Mandalorian themed. We gave out free posters from Sony and free mini posters, and we just had a good old time. And it was like a Comic-Con in basically in between two parking spots.
I love it. I love it.
And we did not count the toys very well, because we had to unstuff the Ecto more than once, because we stuffed it and then took it out and stuffed it again and stuffed it a third time and then emptied it out. The best context I have is that the Five Below people said their kind of sales comp that they measure was up $5,000 from last time this year. Wow. So that gave us some context. I mean, there were quite a few people that came right out with toys. The Comic-Con had a raffle list and they had over 100 names. So that was just the people that like managed to actually.
Yeah.
But I mean, we were just as busy as we were for like when we do like Comic-Cons where you have like a stretch of a couple, like maybe 2 hours where it's like the peak time. Yeah. We were like that for 4 straight hours. Like,
yeah, that's awesome, man.
So the only context we really had was like, we did about 100 toys last year. So I think we did that at least 250, probably closer to 300 because of how much we rotated over, but we also kind of had
Smash that.
we had like toys from or from Five Below that were like this size and this size in a box or a puzzle, and headphones, a lot of headphones, because we were trying to encourage people to buy teenage friendly. But there were people that donated just like a giant like carrying case for a kid and a desk and all kinds of stuff. Like if we had lined it up, I didn't even see half this stuff because it was just getting buried so quickly that like when we went to put it all in a trailer to actually take it right to Toys for Tots, people were like, oh my God, somebody donated this. It was kind of like awesome to see what people were willing to donate and how much people coming out of Five Below were willing to just give us a whole bag of stuff. Like that's at least, $10 worth of stuff easily.
Yeah.
So it made it really easy, I think, for people to donate. I know not everybody gets that opportunity with a Five Below, but if you can partner with a retailer in any capacity, whether it's just a comic shop or something that can get that push you a little further, go out and try to make it happen for next year for sure.
And that is one of the best practices, one of the best tips of best practices Nathan Dean can give us. Partner with a retailer. It's bonus for them, and you guys, your benefit is that you get donations for your toy drive. You're not asking them for a percentage of the sales. You're not asking to block their store, to do anything that might hurt their business. It's all positive benefits for that retailer. So if you haven't already done it, if you're interested in trying to do it, contact a retailer. It could be a mom and pop shop. It could be a smaller chain like Five Below. You're going to find somebody that's willing to help. And do not ever be too scared to ask. The only thing they can say is no. And that's something that we've been preaching on this show since the toy drive last year. So yeah, man. I need to ask you, because you're telling us about all these things and the massive items you're getting. You mentioned you guys had roughly around 100 donations last year. What does it feel like? What is your emotions like seeing just the much bigger turnout you guys had, being that busy and knowing that you're going to benefit, hundreds of kids this holiday season?
I mean, it just fills my heart. A big thing that we had that we haven't really discussed previously, because it's kind of hard is we had a couple businesses, including the local airport and the TSA folks there. They actually did like a private collection box and brought a whole bunch of toys. And they heard about it on the radio. And it was one of those, the gentleman grew up in a similar situation when he was a kid, like single mom kind of thing. And that he just heard about us and immediately it like clicked of like, I have to help, like, and get a whole bunch of other people to do it, was like exactly what we wanted to spawn it. All the people that came that day that helped us, the Chewbacca and his family, even Santa just showing up, all the Cherry Capital Comic-Con people, like you could see it was infectious for them to like get a chance to do something. And I think the fact that like even in that whole 4 hours, we were making kids smile by having like, you could get your picture with Chewbacca or us. So it was like, we were just constantly being reminded of like, we're helping kids. And in the moment and then later of knowing like, this is going to make a huge difference. And because I know some of other behind the scenes stuff, I know like how big the need is in this area, especially I think us helping and trying to really bring home like teenager themed items was a huge win for our community and everybody that did support us that day, because that's not always so easy to do. And my wife, she used to work and still works for like teenagers in different at-risk things and different programs. And those kids, like when we've done stuff with them in the past, were like, just want coats. So like their bars are sadly pretty low. So them getting like headphones and cool like games and stuff like that, like that's gonna change like an actual like kid that's gonna be an adult in a couple years life,
Yeah.
for the better, hopefully, and
Yeah.
that's kind of why we wanted to keep doing this. And thankfully some other people like helped us take it from we're going to try to make it happen to like, oh, we're going to make you make it happen as big as you can get it. Cause it's because I realized like I like going big on stuff, but I also,
That you need help, right?
you need help,
Yeah.
and you're trying something new and you don't want to like burn too many bridges with stuff. So you're just like, okay, we're going to go from this spot to like a Five Below, a more traditional thing. And the Five Below, in our case, they were only doing donations online because that particular location was asked to stop doing the box because no one was picking up the box, kind of picking up the toys kind of thing. So it was like already kind of like, okay, we're getting our foot in the door to, oh my God, the radio is like going to help us. They're going to sponsor us. This is awesome. To, well, now I definitely have to get Chewbacca here and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but ultimately the goal was like, I know the more noise we make, the more like results we're going to get and the more kids we're going to help.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's so true, and it's not something that folks think about. You need help. It would be amazing if like a team could just set up somewhere and you get 500 toys donated, but it's not, I don't want to say realistic, it's just not likely. So the support of local shops and retailers, the support of your local newspaper, the support of a local radio station, telling folks where to go, what time. You got local Santas, you got local Star Wars cosplayers, you know what I mean? Like when you start adding all those little things, that's when stuff really adds up, and that's when it happens. And so a lot of people think it's overwhelming. You don't you don't know if you can do it because it's just too much, or it's you're afraid it might not turn out the way you hope it will. But you don't have to do it alone. You don't It doesn't just have to be your team that is involved. The more people you can get, the more folks that you can gain support of and get behind this effort, the better. A good idea, Dean's already mentioned, cosplayers, local Santa Clauses in your area.
Those guys, those Santa's usually pretty busy, but if you get the right Santa, he'll help you out for sure. Or the
Absolutely.
right time with Santa. I don't mean Santas. I mean the right time with Santa. He'll come by
Absolutely.
for sure.
The radio stations, having them promote the event, when you're going to be out, where they can go, the times to donate, that's all fantastic. I would even say public libraries. We've
Hmm?
partnered with public libraries not only in our community, but we've partnered with public libraries in other cities, other towns, and they've always been super supportive. They're willing to share the information. They're willing to have events at their locations. Fill the ecto at the public library in Cherryland, or in my case, San Antonio. Stuff like that. Um, Reach out, ask for help, ask for support, and just word of mouth is still so valuable in what we're trying
Yeah.
to all accomplish. You know what I mean? Doesn't have to be somebody throwing their wallet at you. You're not begging people for money, not all the time, but in most cases, just helping spread the word is so beneficial to what we're trying to do here.
And I would definitely say if you are partnering with a local Toys for Tots already, use their resources of like who are they using for like a radio and media, because in most cases they probably already have a sponsor, so they have some sort of contact. But also like literally don't be afraid to like spam email every radio station and TV station, as long as you could just craft like a basic email. It didn't even have to be a fancy press release, just something basic that looks like you know how to finish and end a paragraph saying we're doing this. And you'd be surprised how much people will like latch onto that if and use an email in legit way that like looks at. But if you can do that, someone will notice.
Absolutely.
And especially if you can like theme it to like some other thing you're connecting to, or like in our case, it's nice having a Philly ecto because it just sounds, good. We have a couple other, stuff to this thing the last couple weeks in our area with other groups that are doing other like, the the DNR as example is doing like stuff the truck and that thing. Like it always sounds catchy to do something like that than just a toy drive, but
100% right. 100% right. No, I completely agree. Throw a catchy name behind it, throw a fancy headline. It's going to bring out a few more folks. If it brings out a few more folks than it was before, then you've accomplished your goal. Yeah, no, it's Phil the Ecto is always a fantastic, catchy name, and it brings the folks out. I remember we were just dropping off boxes, and we were telling folks, "Hey, we're gonna go drop off a box at." Luckily, we have an Andretti's in town, and Andretti's, the one that we have locally, has the two level Ghostbusters Halligate VR games, right? They have the both games there.
Okay.
Yeah. So we told folks, hey, we're gonna go drop off this donation box. Come meet us. We're gonna be there for like an hour. And folks who couldn't just do that on a whim, totally fine because it was last minute. But we're gonna be going back this weekend. We were getting messages, and they're like, "Hey, we can't make it today, but when's the next time you're coming out?" And I'm like, "I'll let you know." And so we're planning all that right now. So it doesn't hurt. The more eyes, the more times you post, the more times you share something, it gets people's attention. And you're not spamming people. You're not, clickbaiting people. You're trying to gain more support for your toy drive campaign. I see
Exactly.
you. I
And
see you, Bryce. He says he's
hey,
late, but
Bryce.
no, you've been
Oh,
here the whole time, bro. You're right there. You see that right next to hashtag Team Terry. So appreciate you being here, man.
I mean,
Um,
we had, if there are groups that like, if people can't do kind of normal toy drive, like I said, see if you can help them with like your parade. We ended up representing our local Toys for Tots in the parade because they literally did a kickoff the same day. And the whole summer it was like, I don't know, we don't have time for that. Maybe not. And I just said, we're doing it. And we'll apologize later. And within 24 hours after that parade, the Christmas parade, they're like, we have been getting so many messages, people saying we saw you, like that they saw the Toys for Tots there. And we're like, that's all we wanted to do was just give you free
yeah,
advertising. Like that's all it took was, we did a lot of work because we did a whole float, but it was free advertising that they could just not replace. So, and that took us just saying, well, you got three people in a car. You're a parade float.
I gotcha. Oh, that's what you mean. You didn't mean like you built an actual float for the parade,
Oh
right?
no, we did. We did.
Oh my
We
god.
did. We did. Um, we were planning to just walk and have our ecto, but a gentleman that's with the 501st with me, um, we ended up finding a trailer last minute, and he built a whole Christmas tree, and we put our Stay Puff on the back of it, and he towed it, and it had lights. It had tons of lights. It was crazy. We ended up taking one of the Toys for Tots banners and kind of carrying it like on each end, and it was like 12 feet long. And we had to like work around kids because the people were spilling into the streets to watch this parade. It was hilarious. But like I said, even by the end of the parade, there were people walking up to us going, "Oh, I work for so and so, and we're gonna see you guys this week to donate and everything." We're like, "Yeah, that sounds great." You know, like we're like, we don't actually do the toy collecting part, but so like there is so many ways people can, and it doesn't have to just be Toys for Tots. I'm sure in our case and in lots of areas, Toys for Tots is the collector and then the facilitator of lists, and the actual helping of people in a lot of cases is some sort of community agency, you can always find one of those to work with directly, and support them in some way with getting some toys or just collecting money one day. It, it is endless. All it takes is not being afraid to be told no from the first person and move on to the next one. We did Five
Absolutely.
Below because we didn't hear back from people we had done with last year, and I moved on, and it worked out in our benefit to do something bigger with, and be able to collect a lot more toys because we were so.
I'll say I for sure it did, and sometimes that's the plan, right? Call it fate, call it luck, call it karma.
Exactly.
I believe everything happens for a reason, and that, my friends, is a good enough evidence of that right there. Somebody said no that you worked with last year. You found some new folks to support you, and look at the results. The results, 2 3 times more donations than last year already. Right?
Oh, easily, and
Yeah.
it said just, and us having now a kind of proven partnership with Toys for Tots. I actually was helping them like do their website when I joined their committee, and kind of update that. So that's been a benefit. Like, just, it our group's been around quite a few years now, and this was probably to some degree what I envisioned of where we would like not peak, but like the we had a great amount of our group and other groups help, other geeky related things, and we drew lots of crowds. We, the culmination of what I wanted from our group, which was to like do something big that helped the community in a big way, you know, um, where everybody was kind of, firing at full stream, with kind of thing. So, um,
I'm
I,
happy
I
for
advise
you.
people just think, if you gotta think about it honestly, like as someone who is a Virgo, start thinking about it now for next year. If you haven't,
Oh,
if
for
you're just
sure.
like do it. Don't even like hesitate. Find out where your local group is. If you're like, oh, our group's 2 people and everybody's busy until Christmas, start planning for next year. You'd be
Do it.
surprised how quickly next year will come.
No, 100%. I agree with that. And the first thing you said when you jumped on here was find a toy drive that's already happening. Just say, you know what? We want to volunteer our time. We want to flag cars down. We want to just stand in front of the box. Who's going to tell you no if you just tell them, just let us stand in front of this box and talk to people? Because and this is for people who don't already have something going on, right? And Nick, I see your comment in the chat. I'm gonna share that right now. But for people who haven't who haven't planned anything this winter season because you don't have time, you weren't sure where to start, find one that's already going on and just tell them you want to stand in front of a box. And that box, you're going to talk to people that can donate. And you're going to tell those people where the donations are going. Because I promise you, half of our donations that we got last year were not from the box being in a store by itself or us sharing the information online or something. They were from people walking by the comic book store that we were at, and we would stop them for just 30 seconds to say, hey, we're having a toy drive. These are where the toys are going to go. Come by and drop one off anytime. And that's where half of our donations came from. I kid you not, because people just would be like, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" And they'd go next door, they'd find a Five Below
Mhm.
nearby, and they'd come back with 2 3 bags of toys. So yeah, it's if you don't already have an event, if you just want to see if it's possible, right? Just see what happens. Just take a leap, give it a shot, and what the worst that could happen is I don't even know what the downside is. Maybe you're outside and it's a little bit chillier than you want it to be, but at least you're doing something for a good cause. And if it doesn't meet your goals or your expectations, like Nathan already said, start planning for next year and make it happen. Um,
Yeah,
Bryce
this is
Bryce says he wants
some
to. He
funny
already
stuff.
back to the trap in PKE. He's so excited. Yes, we are all super excited, and I have this crazy theory that we're going to hit the 18K by the end of this stream. We are now at 17,944.
So that's 13 since we started.
No,
Yeah.
when we started, it was at 915, I think.
Well, I thought it was 30. When I refreshed, it was 31. So yeah, but that's
When I
got to
when
be a
I
lot of people picking up the like watching the Adam Savage thing. It's got to be.
it's me and you. It's what it really is.
Yeah, where's that Hasbro money? I'll
Give
start
us those.
showing.
We're helping you guys
I'm
out,
gladly
Hasbro. Come
showing.
on.
Yeah.
Nick, I'm gonna get the last name wrong. I apologize. Nick Blakowiak. The North Star Ghostbusters are hosting a toy drive in Roseville, Minnesota this Saturday from 12 to 4 p.m. You folks in the Minnesota area, even if you're not in the Minnesota area, if you're on another team nearby, share this information on your pages, please. Every little bit helps, right? Because even if you don't live in Minnesota, in Roseville, you might have a friend or a relative or somebody you went to college with who lives in Roseville, Minnesota. And Nick, if you have a flyer, I'd love to share that for you, brother. Send it my way, and I'll make sure that I share that on Ghostheads radio pages. Terry says we should put on vehicle deer antlers and call it "Fill the Ecto." I love that. Oh
I
man.
like that. I like that. That's a good.
Let's see here. I gotta
Well,
share. I gotta share this. This is
oh yeah. Okay.
that float you were talking about.
Yes.
I know this isn't the front of it, but so you're pulling a trailer. You got a Christmas tree on it. Somehow you guys stabilized it enough so it wouldn't fall over, and you
Mhm.
got Stay Puffed tied down really well. It looks like on the back. That's
It is
amazing.
strapped down there a little too well. He's probably like a foot. So that's actually our like 8 foot Stay Puff because we have a 13 foot that would have been perfect. Unfortunately, the height limit for this particular parade was like 13 and a half feet
Ah, yeah,
because of
because you
like
got the street
wires.
lights and
So
yeah,
yeah, so
telephone
we're like,
poles.
we have not had a float previously in anything we've done, mostly because of logistics of trying to get a trailer of some sort and etc. And so it was like, oh, we finally get one, and we can't go as big as we want to. It's not fair.
This is so
So
cool, man.
yeah, so we had that. We had our Ecto 42 ahead of them. Um, excuse me. So it was a lot of fun. It was a good way to like kind of support Toys for Tots. Like I said, we kind of set up some banner, and they had just spent all day, the Toys for Tots folks, with like they had the Marines and all the local like police departments and fire departments doing a big kickoff at a local hotel where you could like donate a toy and get like water park passes. So these folks are already just like exhausted from collecting. I think they collected 1,200 toys that day. 1,200 toys that day.
Oh my god.
Um, Most they've ever done. The weather was perfect that weekend. That was a big, huge factor up here. There was no snow, it wasn't blizzarding, etc. So just us doing that was like enough to help them, and I'm sure it affected. Is it ultimately going to get them 1,200 more toys? Us being in the parade, no. But will it get another 25 toys? Heck yes.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
we've done our job. I mean, we had a lot of people like yelling, like, we love the Toys for Tots, you know, and it caught on like social media wise. So that helped too, and etc.
I love it. Every little bit helps. We're all trying to accomplish the same thing here, right?
Yeah. And I think a big thing that like, I know this is true for all the groups that have been doing toy drives last year, previous years, people, some groups have been doing stuff related to nonprofits and helping toys for years. I think the reason we love to do it, and I would think it would apply to most of the groups, is like we already know when we dress up and go in the community and we make a kid smile. So why wouldn't we want to take that even a step further when they're at home and they get to open a toy?
Amen.
You
I
know,
agree.
like I think that's a huge reason to help. You know,
No, massive reason. It's so true, and I said this on the New York City telethon, um, which was a great event, by the way. Shout out to the NYC team who
Yeah, that's fun.
we've been partnering with. You were on the stream as well. I did see yours. I was like, there he is. There's the guy, Nathan. I said this on that stream, is that like there's so many charities, and every time you go to a grocery store, they're asking, hey, do you want to donate, $1 to this animal shelter, or donate to this organization? And there's so many charities out there that you kind of don't know exactly what your dollar is going towards.
Mhm.
And in this instance, that's the one thing that you can tell folks that you ask for toys, is that we know exactly where these toys are going. They're going to
Mhm.
this shelter, they're going to this organization, they're going to the kids in this community. It's exactly where they're going, and they don't have to question that. And it's really hard for people to sometimes donate to things without being fully aware of the logistics sometimes. And
Yeah,
I
I would agree
it's
with that
weird.
for sure.
Yeah, it's totally weird. It's a weird thing, but sometimes people just don't want to donate their time or their money because they're unsure of how it benefits so and so, or how much money goes to the actual cause and how much money goes to the organization that's trying to help the cause. And so I get that. And so, yeah, these toys that Nathan, your team collects, that our team collects, all these chapters, all these toys are going directly to a child's hands. And that's incredible. What we really need is we need Sony to start mass producing some Ghostbusters wrapping paper, because if we can get some wrapping paper
Yes.
out there. I've been looking. I scoured through Five Below. I've scoured through department stores. I would
I
love
still
to
have
have
a
some
set.
Ghostbuster
I
wrapping
still have
paper.
a set I bought at like an FYE last year on clearance. I bought one because there was only one left, but it was still like $10,
Yeah.
and it's like the slime green kind.
Oh wow, that's
Um,
cool.
but yes, they need to be licensing. There's some odd. I'm somebody who typically looks for like odd or geeky wrapping paper, and have for a long time, because of like just making everybody groan when they see, oh no, that's his present, oh it's a Harry Potter like wrapping paper. So I'm always on the lookout for that kind of stuff. So yeah, they need to just like this. Even this year I'm like, there's been some like deep cut Star Wars stuff from like the 70s. I'm like, who is this appealing to other than like, who's gonna, the little kid's gonna see this and be like, oh my god, look at that, Kenner art from the 70s. Like, kind of, there's been stuff like that where I'm like, this is odd. But yeah,
Who
I
would
would
want to
agree.
rip that?
Ghostbusters need to be, because you can pretty much guarantee Star Wars, Marvel, and Harry Potter
Oh, for
are
sure.
going to be like one of the big, like, couple, like, geek themed wrapping paper. And then it's like, kind of the rotation of like kid stuff, like your Paw Patrols, your Bluey, that kind of, whatever's kind of hot at the moment.
Yep.
So absolutely. And I suspect after, I guess, was it last year or 2 years ago, when Sony was encouraging people to do toy drives, and this year they've been literally just handing over posters to franchises as much as I know. Like, they're just giving them away with very little question. Like, I think they're seeing all this and kind of probably hoping, to do more of it permanent, like bigger in the future, with whether it's with franchises or just something, because Star Wars has done that. They've been really good partners with like using 50 or the 501st and all those groups this time of year to do something kind of connected instead of just their own thing. So that'd be great to just do that, more. I mean, we probably would have got it if the movie was supposed to come out, what, a
Oh,
week?
don't
I'm
say
sorry.
that.
But it's a
You're
fascinating
right.
thing to think that
You're right.
that things would be totally different, and it's only 3 months away. But
Only 3.
everything would be different if it was supposed to come out right now.
Oh yeah, we'd have an entire toy line already on
Yeah,
store shelves, ready to go for the
we'd
Christmas
have red
season.
jackets like on every store.
Oh
Columbia would
my
be
god.
have been some, limited edition. Well, not well. They probably would have convinced them to make one. But I mean, like, that's a whole, fascinating thing too, because there's they delayed all the Twinkie, that kind of stuff from the last time, so you can kind of see like remnants of that this time, where they're like
Yeah.
kind of having to push things back a little bit.
Yep.
But yes, I think that would be awesome to do. Um, I wonder if the actual Ghostbusters store still has it, because the Ghostbusters, like, Sony has a merch website. I wonder if they
Yeah.
carry them still.
I should have checked. That would have been interesting to find out. Um, Two in the box backer count update 17,950. We are now 50 away from the 18K, which is awesome. Oh man. Nathan, I am so happy for you, brother.
I don't think.
Not
Oh,
only
it is.
did you faced some obstacles this year, clearly, with not being able to just easily join up with the same folks from last year. You were able to overcome that, and you strive to have a team in Cherryland that benefits the community and can directly impact that community in a positive way. And that is an amazing goal to have. It's a very similar one that I share with you, because I want to put on a suit to make sure that it actually doing something positive for my community. That's why I want to wear the suit. Yes, I love Ghostbusters. Yes, I've loved it since I was born, because I was born in '84. But to put on something that you are passionate about, and to use it for good, and to bring joy to people that you're not even familiar with, just complete strangers and kids who have been going through tough times. Like, we're not talking about kids that have it easy. We're not. I know that my organizations, all the kids and the organizations that we're benefiting, have gone through nightmares. Like,
Mm.
honestly, um, real life nightmares and tragedies, and they don't deserve it. And you can put on a suit, and we do that here. You could put on a suit and just bring joy to folks who haven't really had a whole lot their whole lives, and it's a powerful thing. So I'm so happy for you, brother, because
Oh, thank you.
you have this massive goal, this massive idea for your team, and you're doing it. You're literally doing it, and there's no slowing down for you guys, man. The sky's the
No,
limit, and everybody's
shout
taking
out to our
notice of the
crew.
Cherryland Ghostbusters, man.
Yeah, a big shout out to my crew. And there's particular members that pull their weight and then some. That they inspire me as much as I try to inspire them with just having events to go to. But at least one member in particular is doing a lot, like both Salvation Army ringing, doing another drive collecting coats, but like the whole group, whether they're just kind of doing stuff, but like they're all inspiring in their own way, make me want to keep doing this. Um, all seeing all these franchises the last 2 years, you guys putting together these like kind of organized toy drives and coalition of toy drives has been really inspiring. Absolutely, just seeing like what other, like, that we're not the only ones, for sure, and that people are willing to like do whatever they can to help their communities. And every community is different, but also every community needs similar kind of help. So it's just inspiring to see that we're not all just people obsessed with just the packs. There's a little more to our hearts. I
Yep.
think is a big factor. I don't know if that's just because of the movie and it having this kind of warmth underneath it, or what, or if we're just all people that gravitated to Ghostbusters because of us being warm-hearted. I don't know, but it's been really inspiring to see just how big the web of franchises that are helping kids in need
Yeah.
is amazing. So
And you're not alone. We have just over 30 chapters. And if you're out there watching right now, either this live stream or you're watching this at a later time, if your chapter, I said this earlier, if your chapter has any plans, or if after this after this lovely speech by Nathan Dean, if you are now inspired to go out there and have a charity event in your community, by all means, let us know. Just give us your team name. Let us know what your plans are so we can spread the word for you. And if you have questions, if you want help, reach out to any one of us. Myself, Nathan Dean at Cherryland, the NYC team, who's very helpful with other groups. Go out there, take the risk, do it for the greater good, and you'll be surprised what happens. One of my favorite stories. One of my favorite stories is Jason over in Dallas. He's a great guy. Last year, he was known as the lone Ghostbuster, and that was
Yes,
because
yes, I do remember him from last year. Yeah.
yeah, and that was because he was just kind of up there by himself, and he wanted to get out, and he wanted to make a difference, and so he says, you know what, I'm gonna join this toy drive, and I'm gonna, even though I'm all kind of alone, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna make things happen. And I said, go for it, brother, just go for it. And it turns out that things didn't go well for him. Nicholas James is what I'm talking about. Nicholas James, things didn't go as planned. Let's put it that way for him, and he didn't get as many donations that he had hoped. And so I told him like, hey man, you went out there, you didn't give up. You're gonna make it happen. Keep pushing forward, man. This doesn't have to what's the word dissuade, is that a word? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what the word is. This doesn't have to ruin your hopes and
Mm.
aspirations for making a difference. And lo and behold, he found other people. He kind of merged some factions that kind of faltered, and now the Texas Rangers up there in Dallas are having massive events, and they're being a part of like the Ghostbusters Symphony event up there in Dallas.
Oh yeah,
They're already a
nice.
part of that. They were just in the Dallas holiday parade, which I would want to say is almost on the level of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. Like it looks like that kind of event.
Wow,
And
that's awesome.
so it's just really awesome that that's one of my favorite stories. Nicholas James up there in Dallas just making it happen, man. He's still pushing on, and now he's thriving so much. And they have events, and they're collecting like crazy. So yeah, um,
Well,
like
that's
you
awesome.
mentioned, it's really
Yeah,
inspiring, and it's all going well. So yeah, awesome. I know you got a lot of stuff to get to, man, and I said I wasn't going to hold you too long, so I appreciate you taking the time.
I don't know. I
Uh,
obviously like talking, so
well, if you gotta go, I completely understand because I know you have things to worry about. But if you want to stay, I don't mind you staying.
I'll stick around a little bit longer.
All
You
right,
know,
I appreciate that.
especially if we're going to talk about this Haslab at all. Like,
We're gonna
I got
absolutely
opinions. I got thoughts for sure.
we're absolutely talking about the Haslab, and of course, what I'm referring to is Adam Savage's, because he gets all the cool stuff early on. Adam Savage had the opportunity to do a quick review of the Two in the Box Haslab project. He got a hands-on look with the PKE meter, the ghost trap, and all the bells and whistles. And so, first off, I'm gonna kind of bring some of the stuff up. I really want to talk about the features, and then we can get into kind of some of the stuff that we really liked. But if you want to quickly talk about anything that really kind of stuck out to you, and then I'm going to go down my list. But what are some of the things that like you really enjoyed looking at?
So, one, I was impressed, like that they showed a lot of electronics, and even though the video was like these are like the production version, they also like they showed like the actual like the guy just had a bunch of wires on a piece of cardboard that they were willing to like share. Like, look at how much is behind this. Like, we are putting every dollar into this, and that it's got both the box and the PK meter have, I guess, at least three versions between the three movies,
Yeah,
Afterlife and Ghostbusters. And they clearly learned from the pack of some ways to kind of keep them all in sync better. The what I think was kind of maybe people's bad opinion at first with the wheels on the trap, and they're like, why are they so big? And it looks kind
Now
of
we know
stupid, makes it
why.
look like a turtle. Now we know why, because they're like high end, like big thick wheels that like roll a certain way, so you can really recreate like throwing it out there. Like we're not talking they just put like a bunch of like, you know, the Mattel wheels underneath them or something, you know, some Hot Wheels. So I thought that was really cool. And if Adam Savage, that clearly like affected him. And I think when we all get to actually do that, we're going to be like, yes, this was the reason to have a trap that was built with like time and effort and thought. Um, I think the other cool thing was just that they made some of the features of the two movies work by changing out parts. So it's that it could be played with by a kid and they could have as much fun as an adult who has read the instructions and knows everything about like electronics. I think that was a smart, big standout for me too. Like I could give this to a 6-year-old and they're going to have as much fun.
100%. And we're all gonna act like 6-year-olds whenever we finally get our hands on these things. So yeah,
Right.
definitely. We're taking a look at it here, and as you were speaking, the backer count is already up to 17,961. Like
Nice.
we are on the cusp
It's
of
close.
this thing. Yeah, we are so close. Like I was joking when I said we're gonna hit it. We're gonna hit 18K by the end of the stream, but now I feel like we might actually get to do that. So shout out to everybody who's buying right now. You guys are amazing. Um, let's
Which
start with the
based on the quality of those all those parts, like we're getting a deal with all these like stretch goals. You know, that's
a
a couple
hundred
probably
percent.
$100 worth of stuff easily. And they already put probably $301 into these two, you know, three parts technically.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Let's start with the PKE meter. The taser mode from Afterlife. We all know we're getting that. It's activated with a rear switch, which is really cool. I didn't know that was gonna be there. However, the I feel like the toy one they came out with for Afterlife also has. It's just stationary, but I feel like there's a switch there, and I was wondering what that was. So that probably is a movie feature there. Hold on.
I think so. I think so. I think they're well, I don't remember I don't think I bought that one because I
Yeah. So
half those
this
I never saw in a store.
Yeah, this was I found this just randomly. I'm like, I'm gonna pick it up because it's interesting, and it ended up being a kind of a little bit of a cooler item than I thought it would be. But it also came with this little hook that I didn't know what it was for, right? But
Mm.
now it's just a stationary switch, a trigger switch
Okay.
for the for
Yeah,
the taser.
I think in the movie there is that like big kind of I don't know what you want to call it. I guess a like an airplane switch underneath that's got,
Ah,
but I think you barely see it. I think that's probably why it stands out as odd to be like,
mm,
wow, look at that big red button, you know, big switch underneath. Because I don't think you see it in his hand when Egon flips it to taser mode like that. I don't think you really get to see it at
no,
all.
not at all. I don't. I
Um,
mean, I don't recall that. So you're probably right.
but I would assume it's there because they had a chance to look at the props. So unless it's related to the new movie, but I would assume that was them just literally going, how do we make a something new, something old new? Well, we'll just put a button on the backside.
Bryce says I'm gonna act more like my 2-year-old self and soil myself when I get mine.
Right.
Uh, Kev's in the chat saying, "Hey Ted, what's going
Hey,
on,
Kev.
sir?" And I know you wish you would. He says, "You oh how I wish I could get it. It would be an excellent gift for me as Christmas. If I could get one for me, absolutely, sir. It's got to be
Just
tremendous
start.
for
You got a
anybody."
couple more days to bug family. I'm kind of in the same boat. I gotta bug some family and be like, hey, come on, you know, wink, wink.
Pac-Man's in here somewhere. I didn't see a comment from Pac-Man. I'll keep looking. Maybe it's somewhere else. You did see it for a split second from the side view just before the terror dog killed him.
Okay,
Interesting. Okay, there you go.
I figured so. I didn't think it was
Yeah, absolutely.
random.
Let's see here. Also interesting. The PKE meter is going to come with multiple screen displays. That I did not expect. It's
I
going to
did not
switch
expect that
between,
either.
yeah, different colors, different modes. One of them is going to be that EMF detector, was which was one of the stretch goals, right? That was part of the 18K stretch goal, but
Yeah,
the
and I feel like
Haslab representative kind of just said it's going to come with it regardless. He
I
didn't
feel
say
like it
that
was,
like
yeah. Where was that at? I
so I
think it
feel
was,
like it's guaranteed.
yeah, I kind of, well, because it's listed in the stuff, right? I feel like they wanted to make sure it actually would work, and that they seemed like that was very thing they were coy about, because even in the interview that Ghostbuster News did, they were still kind of like, well, we don't have anything to show you. We're not quite sure if it's going to be a feature. Kind of one of those, like, maybe because it's very dis- display electronics heavy, they kind of had to like back it up a little bit and say, like,
Yeah,
well, if it works, it works, you know.
I'm excited. I'm excited. The taser does come with those little prongs or those connectors. There is an LED display that kind of shines when the taser mode is activated. I kind of wish it was strobing. It looked more
Yeah, that'd
static.
be cool.
But if it was actual like a strobe light, that would kind of give it more of a taser like feel. So that's my only recommendation, Haslab. You don't have to do it. It's not an absolute need. You guys have gone above and beyond with everything else, so we appreciate it. But yeah, if that LED light would actually strobe, that'd be even cooler. Just saying.
That'd be cool.
Like we
I was
mentioned,
waiting for Adam Savage to ask if he could actually, like, oh, I'm going to put a real. I was waiting for him to comment, I'm going to put a real taser in there.
that's gonna be a
Like,
follow up video. I promise. It's gonna be a follow up video. He's
I feel
actually gonna
like
do
he's
it,
going to do that.
and he's gonna test it on one of his old. Oh, what was his old partner?
Jamie, no, he probably tested on one of their like test dummies they have on that show.
Sure, test dummies or Carrie Byron or yeah, there you go, one of those guys. And also the belt holster for the PKE meter looks incredible, synthetic leather, so you gotta get that leathery feel. And it feels it according to Adam, they're all high quality. Like these things aren't going to break or they're not going to fall apart quickly. So really excited about that.
Yeah, that looks really, even just you could see in the video like the display pretty well. So that's obvious. It's got some backlight to it. You know, it's, you know, because we all probably have most of us have probably bought a Spirit one at this point, and you know, it's a little weak when it comes
Yep.
to the display.
Oh yeah.
So that was really cool to see.
And when they were using the PKE meter, it didn't have the sounds that it's going to have from the original films. What it did have is actually the voice or the sound card from the toy that I'm holding, this PKE meter.
Oh, okay.
So it all those weird sort of, I think it's Muncher it's trying to emulate. I think those are all Muncher sounds that it actually had in the prototype. Um, I'll
Oh,
put
okay,
down
that
here.
makes sense. Yeah, because he did mention that it was something they already had. Because
Yeah, so
they wouldn't have built the Spirit one, so that makes sense.
yeah, so they could be doing that for two reasons. Number one, it's not that important, or they want to really keep it um under wraps what these sounds would be, and so I can also see that as a possibility. Let's not
Okay.
show them exactly what they're getting. Let's throw in the dummy sound card from the toy PKE meter, but yeah, I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
The ghost trap is incredible. There's a
Oh yeah.
V hook on the stand for stability, which, like, again, they went above and beyond. They didn't have to do that. The ball bearing wheels, people were like, why, like Nathan already mentioned, why are they so bulky, that people were complaining before. Now we know it's because it's going to make it work exactly how it should. And you even saw not Jamie, Adam test it. He threw it, rolled it on the ground, and it looked like it went straight shot. Comes with that 9-foot 3-pin GX aviation cable. The synthetic leather secure receptacle also has a V hook on it, so your belt holster for this bad boy comes with a V hook, and there's like a metal
It's
plate
awesome.
on the back. So again, like we're getting so much
I know.
for what
It's
we're spending. It's
We were getting
amazing.
so spoiled by these. Like, it's crazy to think that a few years ago we were waiting around for like them to do something, or
The
only make a limited run of Mattel figure or like props, and now we're just we're getting stuff that, like, you know, a big prop house maker would take, would have to charge at least twice as much to do
Oh yeah,
this, at least, you know. It's
absolutely.
amazing.
Let's see. The PKE meter also, sorry, the Ghost Trap is also coming with switchable ion rods. You get red or silver based on the movie you're going for, GB1 or GB2. And the iron rods also dictate the sounds that come out of the Ghost Trap, which is so freaking cool.
Right.
And now I'm wondering why, who is going to be like the different things. I mean, Slimer's an obvious choice. Is like a Terror Dogs, the Scaleri brothers, are they going to be part of the sound? And if so, that's going to freak me out. If you hear that Scaleri brothers sort of cackle coming out of one of these things, oh, I'm
Right.
going to lose my mind. I'm going to scream. I'm going to
Or
love it.
A Vigo would be an easy one to either take from the movie, just something random, or like, yeah, they're definitely holding their car. I mean, it sounds. I mean, they literally had this sound card taped to a piece of cardboard, but it sounds like they're gonna give us a lot with that end, because they know it it can. It's just a box that holds a bunch of stuff, so it can you can load up that like sound file and sound card a lot more than you could
Yep,
some of the other items.
100%. Also, didn't expect this rumble feature on the Ghost Trap. Actually
Yeah.
rumbles depending on when, probably when you hit the pedal, I would assume, or just whenever it does, but it's going to rumble. You have the lights. There was a bit of a smoke, and I don't recall them actually mentioning there being like a vapor or a smoke machine in it, but it did
No,
it.
in the video, it cut to Adam had done a test shot, and it says in below, like, this was done by Adam, smoke included. So I assume he just did something real quick with, like, some sort of special effects thing he had lying around, just to
Gotcha.
give it like that full. But he definitely implied that there's like space in the what did he say, in the underneath the bottom part of the box, that like has space to probably put some sort of smoke
Gotcha.
apparatus
Gotcha.
into.
Absolutely. And something that was already mentioned before, the cartridge itself can be, it's removable so that you can um actually use it for your demo containment unit that you take to your convention, or that you have in your house in your basement. So that's just amazing. And if you don't have a containment unit, now is the opportunity to build one, because now you have a removable cartridge for your Ghost
Right.
Trap. So absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I kind of wonder what the battery is going to be. Is anybody who has a Haslab proton pack knows that when you have the rumble feature, those D batteries get drained real quickly. So I'm really
Yeah.
curious if they came up with a better plan for the batteries, um, to kind of give it some longevity, or rechargeable, or non A B C D type batteries. But then again, it's a toy officially, so they can't do like rechargeable, like blue stick type batteries.
No, you're absolutely right. And they said there's space, but I'm wondering if there's enough space so that teams can put rechargeable like battery packs and their
Yeah,
USB rechargeable packs. There's got to be, and plus batteries are getting smaller and smaller these days, so
that's
hopefully
true.
that's something that we can work out. Very cool. Yeah. Anything else
Yeah.
that kind of stood out to you at all? I mean, we've got so much already, but Anything else that we might have missed? Also, these stands like the PKE meter stand. We didn't even talk about that. We're getting all these bad boys. I like that the stand for the ghost trap even looks like it even has some welds in it. I know that's probably
Right. I think
just details, but they really went all out.
no, I don't remember if the this stand has one, but no, even just like I said, they really thought out maybe, and obviously it's because it's a different thing than the pack, where the pack had a lot of switches already. But I like that you can change the sound files by rotating the fuse on the pedal. The fact that the PKE meter, the little silver line that's right below the screen, that is just always just been like a detail, is an actual on off type switch. And
That's what
like
it looks like.
they're
Yeah,
hiding stuff, and this is where you can really tell that they're like a toy company first, because they're like, where can we hide things? Because if you've played with enough toys in your lifetime, that's a big part of we're gonna have some cool playable toy, but there's the switch, or there's the seam. The seams are kind of hidden. I like that they have incorporated that kind of stuff, even like the swapping out the colored tubes on the side of the trap to switch its from Ghostbuster 1 to 2. Really thought out things that if you were just making one yourself, you would have probably just copied whatever one you wanted to make in the first place. You would have probably not made it modular.
no,
That's the kind of stuff that and it sounds like they're smart about they're going to have a little space for all these other kind of things. And that, I appreciate that Adam Savage called out oh, you guys did all these fun things on the pack, and now all these people are making stuff. There's the little compartment on the side that lets you do all kinds of stuff. And I've only recently got my pack because some of my crew graciously bought one for me,
amazing.
through a Big Bad Earth or Entertainment Earth. And I started looking at stuff to get, and it's you can get little snack tray to go inside that thing, and off of Etsy and those kind of things. So it's they're really being smart about we know this community is kind of buying this, and they're going to do their own thing, and back and forth, where some of the other stuff they make for other license, it's a little more, here you go.
That's
It's
it.
it's a fancy lightsaber. Call us when it breaks down, but that's about it. You know what I mean? It's a different community with some of the other ones.
100%.
I
You're
really appreciate that, because we're starved for it. Obviously,
I
we need
keep
more stuff from Hasbro.
I keep telling folks, and they don't. Some of them don't believe me. I said this is the golden age of Ghostbusters fandom, and some have yelled at me and said, "No, it's not. It's Sorry, someone just flew by me. Some people say, no, it's not. The 84 GB2 films are the golden age. I'm like, nah, it's more like the silver age. All we had back then was 2 movies and an animated show. And yes, the toy line was amazing. But look at our toy line these days. Look at
Right.
exactly what we're getting. It's hard to disagree with. This is just the golden age of Ghostbusters fandom. Shout out to Nicholas James with the Ghostbusters of Texas Rangers
Oh yeah.
division. Your ears must have been burning because I was just talking about you about 10 minutes ago. And he says, "Oh, we're building a containment unit in the future." I
Nice.
bet. And lucky Nick, he also has that fire church that got the firehouse building built for them. Did you see that story?
No.
So in North Texas, just I think it's southeast of Dallas, there's a church that hired an architect to build them a new building, and this uh, architect, who we can't find a name for him yet, maybe his name was Ivo Shandor, built a mini firehouse replica for this church. And so I believe it's called the
Oh,
Fire Church I'm not even going to get the city right, but it's a small suburb of Dallas. And so
okay.
they have Nicholas, the North Texas Ghostbusters, the Texas Rangers division, they go and visit frequently because this is like a mini replica of the firehouse and it's in use. And whenever that church decides to move to a bigger building, I told Nicholas, tell me because I want to buy it and I'm going to live in
Yeah,
it.
I'll have to look
And
it up afterwards. I don't know
all
if I
the
follow.
chapters are going to be invited to my house every single day. So yeah, please let me know.
Yeah, that'd be. There was, I think, I don't know if it's still for sale, but for a couple of years there was a fairly good size firehouse that was up for sale in like Metro Detroit, I think, or right outside of Detroit. That everyone in all the coalition of franchises in Michigan kept joking about, like, let's just pitch in and buy it. Come on, people. Like, but as someone who shopped for houses during the pandemic and saw some places like that where, like, oh, we've converted a church into a house, not something you actually want to invest in. A lot of upkeep.
I believe it. So
Are you checking the count?
almost, I wanted to show you. So this is what I was talking about. And
Oh my God.
Nick goes and he checks it out every now and then.
I
This
thought you
is
meant mini, like that's a fire. That's just a fire.
it's a firehouse. It looks just barely smaller scale. It's probably maybe 50 feet shorter than the original, I would say.
So you're saying this is a church who,
This is an actual working church
and
in
they bought
North
a
Texas.
firehouse, or they built it like this?
They built it, and according to our sources, the pastor or the leader of this church was completely unaware of the similarities to the actual Hook and Ladder 8 in New York
Yeah,
City.
that is like, well, they run a fire.
Oh,
But what church would even need a door like that in the like I mean, I can't even think of a church that I know that has an actual like garage. That's not even a garage because
I don't know.
it doesn't have a driveway to it. It's just like a slab outside. So is that even like a garage door? This is
Well,
fascinating. I'm looking this. This is, yeah. This needs to be like Midwest Ghostbuster Mecca, like for sure. Like the next, like if you can't get to New York City, come to this place.
Nathan,
Wow.
the minute you want to drive down to Texas, I'm going to meet you up in Dallas and we're going to go visit this place and just, I don't know, have a picnic outside, do a photo shoot. I mean, there's so
Yeah.
many things you want to do with a place like this. Nick has given us all the rundown in the comments here. Church is in the basement. The safety, the fire safety business is actually in the main building. Okay, and
Yeah, but still, like you said, at the like whoever built this did not have like, they should have just been building an office building and clearly like diverted funds to make it like themed, and it was too late before the people said, "Oh, wait a minute." Like, you know, it'd be like no different if they like, yeah, they clearly like there's no reason to have sconces out there on that side with lights, like, at all.
no, none whatsoever.
That
They
is
really
so
should just put a version of the Ghostbuster sign out front. I
they
mean, you
should.
might as well. Even if it's like not the official logo for the church, put your official logo, but give it a Moogly logo twist or something, and make that your official church logo going forward. If I was running this church, I would be giving my sermon in a flight suit every single day, and every hymn would be sung over a Ghostbuster music or song
Like
as a mashup.
like by now you've got to know what's going on, and people have told you, and you got to lean into it. It reminds me of the Goonies house that's in Astoria, Oregon. For like the last 30 years, like it's been owned by people that want nothing to do with Goonies, to the
Oh,
point of
you're right.
like
Yeah.
blocking off their driveway, etc., like blocking off the road because it's a road on the side of a hill. A rich guy from Texas, I think he was actually from Houston. He bought it last year, I think, and his TikTok is just like, he's just a Goonies fan. He literally has people come all the time. he's like, I know what I'm buying. I'm not, and we're leaning into this. Like, this is the same kind of thing. These people can't ignore like this at all at this point. Like,
No, definitely not. And I'm sure they may or may not be tired of the Texas Rangers up in North Texas. But Nick, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong about that. If I were you guys, I'd be there once a week. It looks amazing. So yeah, maybe they're
yeah,
getting
I
a
just
little.
giving tours anytime I could. I would just fake join the church and be like, yeah, Jesus, for like once a week, just to be able to hang out.
Ask
Oh, I'm wearing
Nick.
I'm
Ask them
wearing
if
my
you.
flight suit to church. It's my church suit.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. My Sunday best. There you go.
my Sunday best.
Ask
That is hilarious.
if Nick is still watching. Ask them if you can just have like a room or like a janitor closet or something, and just put a containment unit in there, just like a mock one, and you know what I mean. That's all. That's all we need. Just we don't need a lot of space. We just want a corner somewhere in the basement, and we'll be out of your hair after that. Definitely
That is wow.
fascinating.
That is really fascinating.
Let's see here.
Oh, that
Haslab,
that
two in the
reminds me of the
box.
Haslab video. Did you guys ever talk? Did you ever talk about the pre-launch video stuff
No,
at their before they revealed what it was and they did their little fun
a little.
video?
We talked about it a little bit. Yeah.
I feel like that was them using like the Hasbro's like headquarters. Like, you're in Connecticut. They could have drove down to New York City for like one video. Come on,
Exactly.
like, come on, like, you should have had a live video like from outside the firehouse, or at least done
Anything.
something. Yeah, so
It was definitely like a last minute, right? Like a thought, like, hey, let's
it
do
was.
a an ominous teaser video, and people will think it's something completely different. There were all kinds of theories. I know I had my own theories. I'm like, ooh, we're gonna get like a firehouse replica or something like that.
Which would have made it. The only one I never believed was the there being a slime blower. It's just a big hollow piece of plastic. I don't think they would have wasted their time. Like, essentially, not that it's not a good prop, but it would have been too much just plastic for the sake of plastic.
Yeah.
So I never thought it was going to be that, but I thought like an actual like some sort of scaled up or down or replica firehouse made total sense. You know, yeah, I kind of wonder if they had to scrap like their whole plan because of the strike or not. But and you know, teasing about the movie and stuff like that, which I hope somehow this 2-pack connects to the movie in some way, whether it's packaging once it gets made, for next year, whether that's a whole, secret and it's going to be licensed under the research and development core. And because I know in the new movie, there's that young gentleman with blonde hair that's like their engineer, like tech guy, and maybe they're going to lean into his character.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they're holding back on even that part of like, this is going to connect, because why wouldn't it? Like,
Well, this is part of what's going to connect a little bit. So, as of right now, as we're speaking, the Haslab two in the box project has 17,986 backers. I am not kidding you. Like this, it looked like a long shot when we started this stream, and now I want to end the stream when it hits 18,000. But
yeah,
during the Adam Savage tested review of the two in the box review, Haslab did reveal that they were going to give an OG logo patch alongside a custom Haslab patch alongside this for the first time labeled really the engineer core division of the Ghostbusters team. I do know a little bit about this, and I think I'm okay to say what I think I know, or
oh,
what I know I
okay,
know.
okay.
But Nathan corrected me earlier. These patches are only going to be sent if we reach 20,000. Is that correct? Everybody in
That's what
agreement?
they said on
Who's
the,
in the
yeah, I think
chat?
that's what it, I think it said, I think Nerd Affiliate said the thing. They don't have it on the site yet, but um,
Nerd affiliates on the chest is not going to allow us this point in the 20K review. You know what? To me, it's just a bonus, and I think that everything we're getting at 18K, which we should get within the next 20 minutes, I
right.
think that that's all worth it. If we don't get these patches, I will be okay. But if we do get them, I think it's great. So the engineer core patch, I can promise you at least 2 characters are going to be a part of this new engineer division. And
Nice.
I think I'm okay to say this. Sony, don't be mad at me, please. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but you already mentioned one, um, James Acaster. He's going to be the tech kind of guy. He's going to be wearing these engineer core suits. Now, I think there might be some debate whether or not the suits they wear are black or navy.
Oh, okay.
If they're either or, totally fine with it. And I'm saying they because the second person who I believe is going to be in this engineer division is going to be Lucky. So Lucky will also be
Oh, okay.
donning this flight suit. All right. And for anybody who's, I know a ton of folks have been online talking about James Acaster's character. Is he who are they saying he was going to be? Is he Oscar? Is he this
Yes, that's the only one
person?
I've heard is the Oscar
Is he that
thing.
person?
Yeah.
I feel like it's okay to say this because it's sort of in the trailer already. James Caster's character is actually named Pinfield. It's Pinfield. Now, if I'm
Nice.
wrong about that, I will own it. But I am fairly certain um, that that is his actual character name in the movie, and I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
because I think you
So
can
we're
barely see it. Like I think people have analyzed his like patch in the one shot of him, but you can't. It's like it could be lots of different things, but that sounds right of what I think I've
yeah.
seen.
So if it's that's all I'm gonna say. I won't say any more because I really don't want to piss anybody off. But
Oh,
yeah, it's really exciting, and I'm glad that the Ghostbusters lore is expanding. Right, getting new
yeah,
divisions. We're getting more. Um, we're getting more characters in this universe. So yeah, it's very exciting. Very cool.
yeah. I don't think they just made that logo for like, oh, well, we came up with like a good idea of a logo to make on a patch. I mean, in because it's obviously a little more thought out than the Haslab patch. There's just it's a little like, oh, just put some stripes on the back. I mean, but yeah, I had a lot of people asking me about the movie trailer last weekend during our toy drive, and it was a lot of, oh, it's this person, these are these people, and this and that, it's connected. And I'm like, if it's either one or either way, if it's connected, if it's not connected, I don't need it to be. But like, if it is, that's cool too.
Hmm.
You know, like I think the point of maybe even going back to New York City was to try to get away from the weight of like everything's connected to everybody. Like we did that in this last movie. So like now we can just have these characters, and okay, there's more people that actually know about Ghostbusters, and there's other nerds that like to like tinker or whatever, like because other movies have suffered from trying to be like, it's a secret that it's this person, and then and then it's in, you go, well, it's kind of obvious you're doing that, and then if the movie does do that, you're like, well, that's uninspired.
Yeah,
you know you,
definitely.
you, pick, you pick like, oh yes, it's the guy's, this person's kid. And it's like, how many of your friends kids know each other, like 20
I
30
agree.
years later, how much are they still hanging out with your, how many of your parents friends do you hang out with, you
Right.
know
That would be too far fetched. Exactly. Right.
right, a little bit, there's a little bit of that going on. So but yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like a cool patch.
It really is, and I can't wait to see what people do with it because James is right. Nick is correct in the chat. People are gonna make this patch all the live long day. I agree. Nerdphiliate says I'm muted because I don't want to know anything. I completely agree with you, and it's, I promise you, it wasn't anything detrimental. It's honestly things that people were trying to guess in the trailer. So, but I won't repeat it. He says my issue with the patch being a stretch goal is someone on Etsy can easily make it. I wish the stretch was something I couldn't easily find, and and I guess I do agree with that. um I won't have any issue with it because it was something we weren't really told about. I don't know if anybody expected there to be a 20K stretch goal, so I feel like it's just something extra because what I really 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 wanted was all the way up to 18,
Right.
which, if you've been watching us since the stream started, we're very close. Oh my god! I can't believe we're gonna do it. We're gonna do
And
it by this
I think the
17,989,
20K,
baby.
oh my God, is it that cool? I think that patch, like, yes, it agree also. It's not something, wow. I mean, Johnny Ruckus and Ruckus Tees literally made a pre-order for the same patch today, like at the exact same time. Like, yes, you're right. Anybody can make it. The precedent of having like a really last minute stretch goal of any sorts that's like another one, there's not a lot of precedent with that with Haslabs, unless it's like really underfunding. Like when they did like the Rancor, they had to like scramble because they realized they had a bunch of bad stretch goals in the first place. But there's not been many times where like it's clearly going to fund, it's clearly going to hit most of its goals, and then they're like, well, we'll throw in something for fun.
I get
That
it.
has
Yeah.
not happened a lot, so I think it's just a goodwill kind of thing.
You could be right. And also, I wouldn't put it past Haslab to just say, you guys hit the 18K. What are some extra patches? Even if you don't hit the 20K, we might throw
Mm-hmm.
them in because it was sort of a last second thing. I don't feel like that's probably what Nerd Affiliate is trying to say. I don't feel like it was enough to like make somebody go jump in the pool who was kind of hesitant before. You're not getting it now just because it has three extra patches involved. You were either sold based on everything else you were getting, or you weren't going to get it.
Yeah.
This wasn't the thing. So
I don't know what else you could
seventeen
have done.
thousand nine
Ooh,
ninety.
I don't know what else you could have done that would have not felt like you would have been like, well, wait a minute, are you going to cut corners somewhere else? I mean, seeing that video, it's clear that they're putting a lot of the money per unit into the product. So for them to have like all of a sudden now have like, oh, it's got a real stun gun on the end. What if we hit 20,000 or something? Would have been like, well, okay, I guess it's not going to like turn on properly. Like I don't know. A carrying case. I do like that suggestion by Nerd Affiliate. I do like that.
A carrying case would be awesome. Nerd says 7 more. Yes, I can't even refresh fast enough. 7 more, now 6 more. 17,994.
Although you could
So
just go to Harbor Freight and buy a perfectly good like waterproof carrying case and a yellow striping from Harbor Freight also, and you're pretty much good to go for $20.
absolutely, I wanted the
So
yellow carrying case from them. Yeah. That would also be awesome. Yeah, definitely. I went to a Habitat for Humanity center. They sell like used stuff and like old stuff. There was trunks. You had some like metal trunks there that would fit a completely
ooh,
like solid proton pack and all the gizmos. So if you have anything like that in your neighborhood, your area, Habitat for Humanity, whatever they're called, antique stores, you know what I mean? Flea
mhm.
markets, go look for some old used trunks from like the 70s, the 80s, and that'll work perfectly. Awesome. He asked if we're going to mod the iron arm to be curved. LOL. I'm not. I like leaving these things the way I get them. Nathan, you all interested in that?
Only if they make another pack that I can that's a little more already themed. Um, I saw most of the stuff in the trailer that everybody dissected is like, well, that's cool. Like they're changing it up because why wouldn't you? Like as someone who tinkers with my own cosplay and know other people that constantly like build real things that they want to update 2 days after they finished it, it makes sense canonically that a bunch of nerds would try to like update their own product. And specifically that iron arm is something that is well known for like catching on things, bumping into things, the kind of thing that if you were an actual engineer in the world of Ghostbusters, you'd go, well, can't you guys like curve it so it's not as in the way? Like, I appreciate that part. That doesn't mean I need to make it as like mine as up to date as possible. I'd rather wait till we can kind of get a new one that's got and see what else they've got hidden. You know, they've got that yellow bumper thing and lots of other stuff. So there's got to be, they're obviously going to find a chance to like showcase that in the movie. So I want to wait to see, like, it's like people making the jackets already.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you're all excited finding jackets, but I need a real jacket. So I'm going to wait to see if they're going to like what is in that jacket or attached to that so that I can buy one I need to use all the time. You know,
I have a surprise. It's not the kind of surprise you're thinking about, but I do have something to announce about that's regarding the jackets that I cannot say yet. I will say it. It has to be closer to the movie's release, unfortunately. But so yeah, I will have a Ghost Heads radio announcement as we get closer to the movie's release, and Nerd affiliated. Stuck at 6 more. This is wild. It's been stuck at 994 for the last like 5 minutes, and yet every single minute we've been like smashing more backers.
I know.
And
It's funny. Well,
so yeah,
have you
announcement
seen like
coming later on.
did you a couple people I've seen have actually bought the jacket that they used in the movie where the movie clearly like gutted out the inside. So these
Yeah.
are jackets that are like the company that makes them is out of Canada. These are jackets meant for people living long stretches in below freezing temperature. And this person bought one for $1,500 and was surprised how heavy and warm it was. And it's like, what did you expect as a $1,500 jacket? It's meant to keep you warm. So like that kind of stuff just amuses me but it's been great that like the community has something to be excited about when it comes to like an accessory.
Oh yeah, it's wild, right? I don't feel like there's probably not another community out there that would get this zany about just a random winter coat. I can't imagine
Right.
anybody else doing that. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Well, the Star Wars people would, because as being part of that group too, week in and week out with with all the TV shows, within 24 hours, people were finding this this sweater on Amazon, figuring out how tall the actor was, so they could figure out how like big the boots are. That group is obsessive. So us being obsessive one item, I think we're like still pretty sane in
We're-
comparison. I
It's
know a lot of
funny.
people got a little griped by the weekend of that trailer coming out. People are like, I'm sick and tired of talking about the jackets. It's like, what else do we got to talk about? This is great.
We also got the barrel cover, like Nerd Affiliated mentioned, which I'm
Oh,
still
yeah.
curious on why it's necessary. I feel like there is some sort of upgrade. It has to be, right, upgrade to the packs, or there's some sort of feature that requires a metal housing, which looks like it's a grate to keep in the heat coming off of the wand, so, or the
Right.
barrel. So yeah, I can't wait to see what that looks like. I don't think it's like a flamethrower, but probably something
That would be weird, but
that would be
I can
very
see
weird.
context of the movie now. It would make some amount of sense, but also like a flamethrower, really, like. But yeah, I think that's another one that is really cool looking, and I'm okay if they don't even explain it very well. Like if they don't have to like show it to camera and be like, and we made this upgrade and this upgrade. But if the costume and prop department made it with the intent for it to be something that people go, oh, okay, that's enough for me. Like not everything needs to be like slapped over the head of like, this is exactly why we added it. But if they have at least canonically in the world come to said either it's to look cool or it's got a real function, that is all I'm cool with.
Absolutely. Nerdfillet says, I need to know what ghost patches on their suits. It's like, put it on my new khaki suit. You know, do we think the logo might change? I guess it would make sense in the sense that it changed for the sequel of GB2, but there really wasn't an emphasis to change the logo for Afterlife. Might there be an updated logo for this film? If there's not, I won't even think about it too much, but I could see them doing that. I think that's something they would probably try.
Yeah, I know one of the stretch goals is the logo, the mini puff logo they used at the end of Afterlife is like the tease.
That would be weird though if they use that one. Would
See,
it be
yeah, it
weird?
doesn't make sense as like a franchise logo. So it kind of depends on how much they're going to lean into like Winston made money, rebooted the rebooted the franchise in a way,
Mhm.
pun intended. Um, does it lean into branding and kind of have a little bit of fun with that? Because I feel like the jackets are like teasing at that kind of a little bit of fun world, and all the upgrades are like, we like you said, there's an engineer core, there's probably other people that actually know about Ghostbusters and have for the last 30, so they might like play up of like, well, we gotta it's like there's a joke in the Paw Patrol movie from 2 years ago where it makes fun of the fact that they can afford all this stuff because they sell merchandising.
Yeah, they
And
do.
I feel like you could make that same kind of joke in this movie of like, well, we got to sell cups and balloons to so we made a new logo because then people have to buy it another time. That kind of joke.
Venkman said it in GB1. The franchise rights alone are gonna make us, what do you say, filthy rich or rich beyond our wildest dreams. There you go. Yeah, it was clearly about to do something.
Oh my
Nerd
god,
says, I'm listening, but if you guys could pick the next Haslab, what would it be? Time to do something toy related or stay cosplay? Um, if they're, for me, I'll ask Nathan in a second. For me, if they decide to go crazy and give the slime blower a shot, I will listen and I will most likely back it, even if I don't wear it a lot, because I love my proton pack.
right?
I could definitely go for a slime blower. Now we already know that there is an updated proton pack from Frozen Empire that's on the way. Perhaps they do that. I don't feel it's entirely necessary. Um, so if it is something toy related, I would not mind it. We're going to need this new villain, which I will not speak about rumors I've heard about the villain. It's
Mm.
nothing crazy like it's somebody we know or somebody from the cartoons. I'm not going that far, so I'll let it go. But we need the villain toy
Don't make
line.
that joke. It's Elsa. Elsa's the villain of that movie. Like, don't make the let it
Elsa
go joke.
done she done lost her mind, and yeah, she's going crazy. What would you like the next Haslab to be?
As much as I love the cosplay stuff, and they're clearly doing it, the one reason I don't totally like them continuing the cosplay is because they're the only Haslab that is consistently doing that, and it leaves people out at the end of the day.
Yeah,
And where the other franchises that have had Haslabs, they go in and out of toys and other things, but you can buy more toy. If you don't get the Rancor, you could always buy more, Black Series figures, So I'd like to get them back, like to a toy thing next, and then start deciding we don't need Haslabs for every one of these cosplay like market, streams, so we can actually charge $50 more and people can buy it right from us, and we don't have this weird campaigns and like, just streamline a little bit more because these should be on permanent like rotation of coming in and out of like availability. They should not be this Haslab pack should not be a one only. Like there's 5 things you can make in Ghostbusters. You can make $1 million every 2 years making a pack. So I'd like to see them make a toy just to kind of not exclude people from like that want to dress up as a Ghostbuster. Um, so I would like to do like a Firehouse type thing or a
Mm.
really cool ecto, or just some sort of like starter pack of like a whole bunch of characters of like of their plasma series. Um, or like I said, if they did the slime blower, just come up with a way to make it so that it's not being sold at Christmas time, Haslab at Christmas time, and like structure it so maybe you can do payments, whatever, kind of thing. And or if there's something in Frozen Empire that we haven't seen that they could make that would be like, oh yeah, that's the prop. It's their version of I'm trying to like the remote control car from
The RC car, yeah. The RC
you,
trap.
you know there's got to be something in this new movie that's like that's the cool thing that everybody's gonna want.
Yeah,
But
and I think there's rumors that the new, I'm not gonna say what it is. The new features on the Ecto might be cool and might be something that people want to see. So yeah, that could be it.
yeah,
Uh,
or a Haslab of like a full size car.
you just have to go in. You just have to back it with like a group of your friends, and yeah, that'll work. Hey,
you
you
know,
know what?
five.
Haslab, you really want to blow us away? Come out with an Ecto car kit.
Oh yeah, yeah. There you go.
That
If
way,
you
we're
want the
not digging
yes,
around for millimeters from the 50s and the early 60s. But if you came out with a car kit that would fit on a freaking 90s station wagon or something, oh my God, those would sell like you would not believe. And I don't
I,
think they're in the car making kit making business, but oh my God, I would totally back that.
there's got to be like Fiat. Like Fiat's got to make a car they could buy like pre-purchase in bulk, like $1,000. You get a little mini car, like a mini Fiat that's all bells and whistles with ectomobiles, and you just have to prove you have a driver's license and insurance,
That's it.
and you wait a year,
That
or
is it.
or
That's all you
or
need.
or do that, just have partner with Chevy and just have like an expansion kit to any the last 10-year like Chevy, kind of like how Jeep you can buy for like $600. You can get Jurassic Park themed kit for your Wrangler or whatnot. Do that.
Exactly. That's all. That's it right there. Or if there's a new vehicle coming out, I kind of wonder when, if ever, if the Ecto is going to get killed off. I mean, things have to
Hmm.
die in franchises. Every now and then, one of those things is a vehicle. So,
True. True.
will the Ecto ever be killed off? In quotes, killed off, and then we have to come out with the next thing, whatever it may be. I have no
Well,
idea.
and didn't Kumail kind of say that this was inspired a lot more by like the cartoon, which the cartoon you could lean into like there's a helicopter
The
or
gyrocopter, yeah, baby.
or an actual motorbike, or I don't know, like um, the segways are kind of passe at this point. Um, what's I mean, you literally they could brand themselves with Tesla, and make an electric or not or any electric
No,
manufacturer.
you're right. It's
You
possible.
know,
Any of those
you
things are
know,
possible.
with
Chris
drone trap.
Robinson says next Haslab could be a Frozen Empire upgrade kit. Hey, I'm down with that. Make it easier on all of us who aren't as savvy or handy with the tools. Did you guys see our 2-hour video where we broke down the trailer and speculated to what's to come in the film? I had not, sir. I apologize, and it's not for any other reason than I'm just insanely busy these days.
I will have
Um,
to check it out. I will check it out.
Nerd
I
says
will,
5 more. I'll do you one better, Nerd. Is actually
two,
2 more.
two, two more.
Whoever's holding out to be number 18,000, you're ruining the moment for us. We just need you guys to just go ahead, and it doesn't matter if you're number 18,000. What matters is that we hit 18,000. So stop holding back and just go. We need 2 people. 2 people and that's it. I'll take an Ecto 1 for the figures if it's sub 200. Yeah, go ahead and come out with a box, right? I know I have a very small, oh, it's on this side, 4-pack of the team here,
Mhm.
and it's very generic. They're not very detailed. They're not as detailed, but do a pack with the team, the car, and whatever ghost of the week is in this film. Maybe it's Slimer, maybe it's not. I'm not saying there is. I have no idea. But yeah, to come out with something like that, that would be pretty awesome with the
I mean, they
figures.
had for I think it was 200, 250. They had that Marvel planned like Ghost Rider car that didn't get funded, and it had a bunch of figures with it. So if you just leave the figures out, you could get make that a little bit bigger because you'd need another, back half. 250, you could make a plasma series size car with enough detail, and you add lights and a sound effects, and then be like, this works with your existing figures. You don't even need to do the whole, more figures with it. Like I think they were smart with the Ant-Man they recently came out, or the Giant Man. It was a figure, and it didn't have stretch goals that were related to like more figures. It was like, no, we're giving you something, giving you quality for $200.
There
Do
you go.
that.
What you see is what you see is what you get. Absolutely.
Oh,
I love it. And you mentioned a Firehouse. If they did a version of the Firehouse like the old Kenner toy, please do something. It's a little bit more upgraded, a little bit more detailed. I would totally love that. I would totally back that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I love this fandom.
we did it.
18,001. Congrats, everybody. We just hit what we thought was the final stretch goal, the final unlocked achievement. Apparently, there's still one more to go, but keep it going, folks. Now we march to 20K in order to get the additional patches that they announced earlier today on Adam Savage's tested video. If you haven't seen it, go check out Adam Savage's tested video of the two in the box. He reviews all the components to it. They do a deep dive. It's spectacular. We've already talked about them a little bit on the stream, and so it's so cool that we hit it during the stream. I really had
That's kind
no
of fun.
expectation.
Awesome.
I had no expectation that was going to happen today until we jumped on the computer.
That video must have really helped today in general, because
100%. They strategically probably waited as well. Like, we're going to do it like close to the end, not too close to the final day, but very close enough to where people will jump. That was strategically the right time to release that video.
I think so.
Nerd says it was $450 for the Engine of Vengeance.
Oh yes, that's what it was. It was $450. Was the
insane?
Oh, I didn't realize it was that high. Oh yeah, no wonder it failed. Well, and they had a whole weird thing with some of their early stretch goal announcements were like figures that made it was goofy. So, but I didn't realize it was $450. That seems like way too much for that car. considering this is $400 additionally. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yes, you're right, 100%.
Their line between licenses is so all over the map. Like that Engines of Vengeance should have been an actual like remote control car for $450.
100%, absolutely. Trap looks amazing. So excited for this campaign. Absolutely. Shout out to Nick James with the Texas Rangers division. Shout out to everybody who backed the Haslab 2 in the Box project. We're at 18,003 right now. We march on to 20K. So happy that we hit the goal during the stream. It's amazing. If you are just joining us, we talked to Nathan Dean and we talked about the Ghostbusters nationwide toy drive campaign. 30 chapters are collecting toys and money this holiday season to provide for their communities, for underprivileged youth and children and teens. And as of right now, well, this is as of right now, but this is a rough estimate because there's still more people to share the results. 849 toys and $5,169. That's just over one weekend, and we still have 3 more weekends in the month of December. We have teams that are collecting all the way till early January. So we are excited on what's to come. Nathan, I want to thank you personally, man. This has been an absolutely thrilling stream. I appreciate it. We talked about everything, and especially if you haven't checked them out, please go give the Cherryland Ghostbusters a like on their Facebook page. See all the amazing things they're doing, the parades, the floats, all the events. They had Chewbacca at their Phil the Ecto event this past weekend, for crying out loud. Oh yeah, and Santa Claus.
He stole the show. He stole the show, even more so than Santa Claus. Chewbacca stole the show. We knew. when
You
we
want to
asked.
flag down some donors. Make sure there's a Chewbacca at your Fill the Ecto event, and he'll be able to flag down people from
He's
miles
just
away.
he would just like growl at them and point, and the people would like come back. The kids would be like, "Oh wait, what? What's going on? Oh, I have to get a," and he would hug them, and
Amazing.
he was a rock star for sure.
Heck yeah. Oh
Okay,
man,
well, thanks for having me on, Ted. Appreciate
absolutely,
it.
man. I appreciate you, sir. This was tremendous, and thanks to everybody who watched and who commented. We enjoy you all. If you're watching this and your chapter has an event coming up, please share it with us. If you've already collected toys, please share those results with us so we can include you in the toy drive campaign. Very soon, there's going to be a flyer with every single logo from every single chapter, and it's going to look absolutely immaculate. So can't wait for that to come out. We have 5 days to still back the Two in the Box Haslab project, and we just crossed 18,000. Shout out to everybody, all the Ghostbuster fans around the world who backed it. You guys are absolutely incredible. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great night. More to come for the Ghostheads Radio. My name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me on this incredible stream is one, the only, the man himself, Nathan Dean.
Hi. Have a good night.
Have a good night,
Stay
folks.
tight.
Happy holidays. We'll talk to you soon.
Happy holiday.